Hey, what's up guys, it's Elastic Spider here, and in today's video it's going to be something much different. If you couldn't tell from the title and the thumbnail, British destroyers will soon be coming to, well, the warships. Now, there is no set date on when these ships will be released or even expected, but this is kind of just some like theory crafting, and also just I'm going to be going over the stats of all these ships. And kind of tell you what my thoughts are and what I think about the ships, and some small comparisons to other lines as well. So before we get too into it, I just do want to mention that all of the stats that I will be showing here in today's video for the British destroyers will be subject to change. It can change at any time, and these are just the initial statistics that Wargaming has put out. Now, if you would like to kind of go more in detail, because I'll just kind of skim the surface a little bit, you can go check out on Facebook the World of Warships development blog. There will be a link in the description in this video for their page, and then also I'll have all of the individual ship stats as well linked there too. So with that out of the way, I also would like to give a shout out to Stuntman. His channel link will also be in the description. He does a lot of good work. A lot more. He's more of a statistical analyst of ships, I guess, is a better way to put it. But he does a very nice job on going a little bit more in depth into these ships. So, and I believe he does videos on every single one of these ships. So if you'd like to check him out, of course, his link will be down in the description. So if you're a little bit more interested in these British destroyers, feel free to go look at that. But without further ado, I think we're ready to get into the stats. Okay, so pretty much what I've done here is I've just taken the statistics that Wargaming has given us, or the development blog, and put them into an Excel spreadsheet. Did a little bit of sorting and color variation. It was very white and gray and black. I didn't really like it, so I added some color to it. So I hope you guys enjoy that a little bit. I'll try and zoom in as much as possible as well for you guys, because I know some of you guys on mobile might not be able to see this as well. So I'll try and zoom in as much as possible. And then yeah, one other thing, please do excuse my British English. I'm not the best British English guy, so do apologize for that, but English is English, I guess. So so we're gonna be looking at the tier, which is gonna go across. That's in yellow. Survivability, then armament, mainly guns, and then armament 2, which is torpedoes, AA, and then maneuverability and some of the available consumables, and then as well as some additional information about either consumables, about the ship, about the torps, whatever. So without further ado, let's get into this. So obviously at tier 1 we've got the Black Swan. I'm not going to go over those statistics because those are already in the game. I can find them anywhere. But right now we've got the tier 2 British destroyer, the Medea, and this ship is going to have 8,700 hit points. Not bad. Again, it's tier 2, so what do you expect? Main battery, 102 millimeter guns. It's going to be okay because you're only shooting at a 6mm plate, so again, that's not going to be too much of a problem worrying about HE pen. But again, firing range 8.8 kilometers, 6% fire chance, decent reload, 5 seconds. And then other than that, not too bad. Torpedoes, 2x2, range 6 kilometers for tier 2. That's actually quite good. We'll have to look at the when the detection comes out, or yeah, it's down here. Oh, we'll get to that in a second. So 6 kilometer torpedoes, that's good. 53 knots, not too bad, not too slow. Reload time, pretty good. Torpedo detectability 1.1 kilometers. That's pretty good. Now, one thing I will mention, as of right now, the whole tech tree, the whole British destroyer tech tree, will be able to choose between, obviously from tier 2 to 10, we'll be able to choose between single file torps or widespread torps, or I guess they're called normal spread torps. So if you're used to things like I believe the Gallant has this feature, or even like the British cruisers. That's kind of what you should expect for these this destroyer tech line. Now, tiers 2 through I think 8. Yeah, tiers 2 through 8. They don't have any AA, so any AA statistics. I don't know if they. I presume they will have some sort of AA, but those statistics at this point have not been released. So, we'll just skip that for the most part. Speed 32 knots, whatever. Turning circle pretty good. Rudder shift pretty good as well. Surface detectability. This is kind of what I was hitting on earlier. 5.4 kilometers. That means you can actually stealth torp, and which is good. And I guess one other caveat before I get too much into this is that all of the statistics that are shown here are with the best possible upgrade. So now if you got the A hull, this might be maybe 5.6 kilometer detection, and then the guns you might not have a 3x1 setup, you might have a 2x1 or something like that. So with that in mind, just make sure you're aware of that. This is the highest possible combination of upgrades and whatnot, and it doesn't. This is assuming no like upgrades or module upgrades, just the researchable tech tree upgrades, but no modules. So very nice there. Obviously, damage control party, smoke generator. It blooms for 15 seconds, so it seems like it's going to be a little bit shorter than something like other destroyers, like United States destroyers. Duration 85 seconds, not too bad. Cooldown for non-premiums 240, and then premium 160. 2 and 3 charges, and I believe that's going to stick throughout the line. So for smoke at least. Yeah, so throughout the line, you're with standard, you're only going to get 2 smoke charges. With premium, you're going to get 3. So that goes throughout the line, which is nice. And I believe, let's also see, the times will also stay the same, so you don't actually get any better times as well. So not bad. 600 meters, that's pretty standard. And then throughout the line, and then engine boost for your third slot. So that's nice. You already get 3 slots. But let's move on. Again, that's tier 2, so it doesn't really matter all that much. Now we're going to move on to tier 3. Now tier 3 is, well, again, a little bit more interesting, I suppose. We've got, now we're at a 4x1, still 102 millimeters. Again, 6mm plating. You shouldn't be worrying about HE pen too much. But firing range 10.7, good, nice bump up. Good fire chance, good HE and AP shell damage. Dispersion's not bad. Sigma's good. Torpedoes 2x2 now, which is nice as well. Maximum damage 10k, range 6 kilometers, speed same. Reload time has gone down. Now the only thing is that the range has stayed the same, but your detectability has actually increased, which to 6.3, which is a little bit worrisome. But again, that's okay. It's only a tier 3. It's not the end of the world. You just get if you have a higher point captain, maybe take it from another ship, then it shouldn't be a problem. Again, same thing. Duration has increased by 4 seconds, so I think 5% roughly, which is nice. And then again, speed boost. So now moving on to the tier 4, Wakeful, the tier 4 destroyer. Hit points has increased. Plating has increased too. Now you get a 4x1 with 120mm guns. That's much better. At tier 4, it's quite competitive. I believe the Clemson has 114 or 104 millimeters. So, but again, you only have a 4x1, and we don't know. I don't know yet how the turret angles will be, so that could also be something to worry about in the future when the ship models start to come out more and that sort of thing. And statistic become more defined. But as of right now, 4x1 120 millimeter guns looking pretty good. 8-second reload though, it has bumped up, so a bit of a trade-off there. Same torpedoes still, except reload time has increased quite significantly, roughly 20 additional seconds. So it's not the best, but again, it's only a tier 4. So again, it's not the worst. Speed 35 knots, turning circle 500. Again, rudder shift good. Surf detectability, it's the same, but it could be better. And then the same setup we have before. Duration, again, on the smoke is a little bit longer, but you know, it is what it is. So moving on to tier 5, the Acosta. Now the Acosta is pretty much the same, and actually it kind of looks a little bit worse, honestly. I mean, you can still get the same caliber guns. You gain 0.3 kilometers extra range, which is whatever. You lose some fire chance, which is not the best. You gain some velocity, some HE velocity, as well as AP velocity. So, but again, it's 30 meters per second. It's not. You probably won't even notice that. Torpedoes have increased in damage, so now we're up to nearly 12k, and that's before, like, that's theoretical max, not actual. So you'll probably be seeing numbers around like 8k, 6, you know, something like that with torpedo belts and whatnot. 6 kilometers still range is not good. Now this is really not good. The speed has increased by 6 knots, but reload time has, you know, almost doubled. So 95 from 62, that's not good. Detectability is whatever. 0.1 kilometers is not going to make a huge deal, but again, now you still have 6 kilometer range torpedoes, but now you have a surface detectability of 6.8 kilometers. So again, it's not with any captain, any consumables, or any captain, any modules, any camouflage, any signal flags, nothing. So you can get this down a little bit, but 6.8 kilometers, you're not going to be able to stealth torp. And at tier 5, that's starting to get a little bit worrying. I mean, tier 3, 4 didn't matter too much, but tier 5, tier 6 kind of want to start being able to stealth torp. I know some things can't, like Farragut, Mahan can, but I know Farragut can't. So again, a little bit worrisome. 96 seconds, so slight increase again. But with that ship done, let's move on to the tier 6, the Icarus. And again, I apologize for my British English, but same hitch, same HP, same plating, same gun setup. Gain 0.5 kilometers range, which is nice. Same HE fire chance. AP shell damage increased a little bit. Reload time is down to 5 seconds, like the tier 5, which is good. Other than that, everything's the same still. Torpedoes, again, still the same. 6 kilometers, 59 knots. Reload time has vastly increased, though. But you do gain a little bit more damage. Near 4k extra damage. So that's nice. Detectability is still the same. Increased by half a knot. Not bad. Rudder shift is a little bit more sluggish at 3 seconds. Probably won't notice that. Detectability is the same. And then obviously you get your standard damage control, smoke, and then speed boost. But now at tier 6, now you do get the option of hydroacoustic. Now torpedo acquisition is 1.89 and ship detection is 2.73, which is, it's getting up there. I don't know if this is the standard hydro or not, but seeing that the British destroyer has hydros, I don't know, it's a bit weird. I didn't expect them to have hydro, but we'll have to see how it plays out. But the duration is 180 seconds, and then the cooldown for non-premium is 180, and then 120 seconds for premium. And again, Standard, you get 2 charges. With premium consumables, you get 3. So that's pretty nice there. Other than that, I guess the only other difference, or not difference, is duration on the smoke is the same. So this is again more. It's a shorter duration smoke. It looks like. So let's move on to tier 7. So at tier 7, we have the Jarvis. Hit points has increased by around 3,000, which is nice. Plating has also increased. Now you have a you got a 3x2 setup with the same 120mm guns, increased range by half a kilometer, which is nice. HE fire chance still stayed the same. Reload time still the same, 5 seconds, which is good. So this is going to be interesting. Again, this is kind of where the 4x1s usually you don't have to worry about too much about turret angles, from my experience with like Pan-Asian destroyers, like things like Gajimata. But with a 3x2 setup, then I start worrying a little bit more. Torpedoes, still 6-kilometer torpedoes. I can't believe they, all the way up to tier 7, you're still working with 6-kilometer torpedoes. Same damage, same speed, same detectability. But again, the reload time has actually decreased by about 13 seconds. So that is, I guess, kind of nice. I guess that is the only compensation. I mean, you do get slightly more gun power, so I have a feeling this is more of a gunboat than the previous tiers, and we'll have to see until tier 8 and to see if this kind of holds true throughout the line. Again, no AA statistics given yet. 36 knots, a little bit better. Turning circle, a little bit worse. Rudder ship, a lot worse. 3.5 seconds. Surface detectability 7.2 kilometers. So pretty big step up there from the tier 7 or tier 6. And now we're looking at same thing, damage control, 103 seconds, which is a little bit better. Pretty big step up, I guess. Charges, same thing, 2 and 3. 100, we already went over this. It stays the same throughout. Distance stays the same. Torpedo detection for the hydroacoustic now is still the same. Still the same duration, and still the same cooldowns and charges. So not a boost up yet for the hydroacoustic. So now tier 8. Now we're going to start comparing a little bit to other destroyers. Other destroyers that I feel like kind of will rival this, or maybe not. So at tier 8, we've got the Lightning. This is 15,900 hit points, 19mm of plating. It's going to be pretty standard throughout the tiers, from tier 8 to tier 10. That's pretty standard. You get a 3x2 100mm setup. You gain a 0.1 kilometers range. You gain a fire chance. Gain a little bit more AP alpha. HE and AP has gone down to those like 774 meters per second. Reload time has increased by 1 second though too, so that is kind of worrisome. It's not going to be, it looks like it's not going to be as much of a gunboat, at least at tier 8. Again, we'll have to see how that holds out. Torpedoes, finally we get good 8-kilometer torpedoes. They go at 61 knots. This is much better. Reload time is very good at 96 seconds. This is like almost German destroyer-esque torpedo reload. Not quite, but it is certainly getting it's much better than a 2-minute reload on the tier 7. 1.3 kilometer detectability. No AA statistics yet. Maneuverability pretty much the same. Rudder shift is slightly worse, and detectability is actually slightly better, which is nice. Again, same thing here. Duration has increased for the smoke. I guess the only other difference is the hydroacoustic. Now, again, the hydroacoustic, you can either choose between hydro or engine boost. So if you're not satisfied with 36 knot speed, then maybe you want to choose engine boost. And honestly, if you're going to use the hydroacoustic, you want a good reload on your guns, so the 6-second reload, I don't know how useful it will be with the hydroacoustic. Now once we get to the tier 9 and tier 10, it might be much more useful than what we see here. But a 2.13 kilometers, which is a nice step up. Ship detection range, another big step up. 3.12 kilometers. Again, it's not game breaking, but it's there. Now here I'm going to bring in a couple destroyers that I think will be somewhat similar. Now this is from a site, a third-party site called what is it? Game Models 3D. So I'm using the Hyson Yang and the Benson, for example. So Hyson Yang has 15,500 hit points, and look in the tier 8, so slightly less. The Benson, again, slightly less. This is the B hull on the Benson, so that's good. Let's see, torpedoes. Where is it? Okay, there we go. Torpedoes on the Hyson Yang. Again, these are deep water, but I feel like they, you know, you can still make a comparison. Actually, before we do torpedoes, why don't we do main battery? That'll be a little bit better. So Sigmas is still the same. Now these are 127 millimeters instead of 120, so I get a little bit different. But 3.34 seconds on the reload for the Hyson Yang. For the gearing, or the Benson, excuse me, it's still at 3.3 seconds. So again, not too bad. Let's look at the torpedoes now. Torpedoes, they do reload is 122 seconds. So looking here, you do have quite a bit of advantage over the Hyson Yang. What about the Benson? Yes, you do have that same advantage, so a little bit better torpedoes, it looks like. Of course, you do have the... I'm not going to go over the maneuverability, but actually I will. Maneuverability wise, so Hyson Yang is a little bit faster. Again, the Benson is also faster, so a little bit of a trade-off there. So you can actually get chased down by something like a Hyson Yang or a Benson, although probably you wouldn't want to do that. But 7.3 or 7.4 detectability on that, 7.4 here. Looking here, it is 7 kilometers, so you do get a little bit better, actually quite a bit better, because now at tier 8 you can slot the concealment module, so that is going to be a little bit better for sure. Obviously you do get hydroacoustic. Let's see what the consumables are like. So now smoke generated 2 on the Hyson Yang, 30-second work time, but 80-second duration. So compare that to this. We've got, where is it? So duration 106 seconds. So you got 20 seconds longer than the Pan-Asian destroyers. Now what about the American? So 28 seconds work time, which is nearly double the time, and then 160-second work time, time that it's stayed up. So that's pretty nice compared to 110, nearly 50 seconds. So the smoke is looking like it's kind of that mid-grade smoke. It's not nearly as bad as something like a German or a, you know, Pan-Asian destroyer, but it's not as good as a Gearing. So again, that kind of middle ground. So that's kind of the tier 8. Let's get rid of this and this. Don't need that anymore. So now let's move on to the tier 9. The tier 9 is called the Jutland, and it has 18,400 hit points. Now, actually, it's kind of interesting. Now you go down to 114 millimeters, which can be, we'll see if it's a little bit significant here. Firing range has increased, which is nice. Now the the one thing that is nice though is that the damage is the same, still 1700 versus 1700. Fire chance has gone down by 1%, but you gain a lot of reload, nearly double the or the rate of fire has nearly doubled, which is of course very nice. HE and AP velocities has gone down a little bit, which again it's not awful, but it's on the magnitude of 25 seconds, so it's still not that bad. Now I want to say this is interesting because 114 millimeters divided by 6, which is the amount that's required for HE pen, and you get exactly 19 millimeters. So as of right now, it looks like you will still be able to pen other destroyers with your HE, but things like anything greater than 19 millimeters, you're going to start to struggle. So this is possibly a good contender, and same with the tier 10, a good contender for IFHE, but that will again have its trade-offs though too. So because IFHE gives a 30%, so 119 divided by 6 is 114 divided by 6 is 19 times 1.3 for, and then now you can pen up to 25 millimeters. So still not that 27 like a lot of cruiser bows and even deck armor. So you're gonna have to start worrying a little bit about penning HE pen. But with IFHE, you're gonna be it'll be much easier. Of course, you can pretty much always pen the superstructure, but penning the decks, it's gonna be a little bit more difficult, and you kind of have to watch what you're shooting at what targets. So that said, maximum speed for the torpedoes, or maximum damage rather, has gone down a little bit. But you do go from a 2x4 setup to a 2x5, so I guess that's a little bit nicer. Range is 10 kilometers. Speed also not bad. Reload time has increased, though. I guess that extra torpedo tube does kind of hinder its reload a little bit. That's okay. A 1.3 kilometer detectability on those torpedoes, not too bad. Now AA defense. Now finally we get some AA defense rating. So we get a 3x1 40 millimeter setup, 3.5 kilometer base range, not bad. 26 average DPS. It's a bit on the low side. A 2x2 setup for the 40 mils. Again, 3.5 kilometers, now 38 DPS. And it's actually kind of interesting because just like a lot of the other destroyers, like the Gearing or like Akazuki and stuff like this, you get dual purpose main battery guns, so you can use them for AA as well as main battery. So you get a 3x2 114 millimeters. They go out to 5 kilometers and they do 45 average DPS. So I don't expect to put that much into AA, but speed has actually gone down quite a bit. Turning radius has also gotten worse. Rudder shift has gotten more worse. Looking at 0.4 seconds worse than the tier 8, so now it's up to 4.2. Detectability is still good at 7 kilometers. 4.1 detectability after firing in smoke. Or sorry, that's air detectability, and 2.4 in smoke. Again, smoke is pretty much the same. Duration has increased. Now it's up to 110. And then the torpedo detection range 2.37, and then 3.5 for the ship detection. So that's pretty good. Let's take in the Chungmu. Oops, I don't know what happened there. Chungmu, and then also the Fletcher. So Chungmu first. Let's look at this. So general. So 17,100 hit points. So slightly less HP than the Chungmu. Same with the Fletcher. The British destroyer has more HP than either of these two. Let's see, what else do we want to look at here? Again, this is top setup. Surface detectability 7.4 on the Fletcher, same 7.2 on the Chungmu. So still the British excuse me, the British destroyer does get a little bit of an advantage. So let's look at some of the consumables. Smoke it's active for 80 seconds. You do get a lot more charges with the Changmu, which is of course nice. Still 160 seconds, or I'm sorry, 127 seconds on this, 70 seconds on this, versus the 110 seconds. So again, still that mid-grade smoke. It's not the worst, it's not the best, but it's kind of in the middle there. Now this 3.5 second reload is going to be nice though, so that means that you can actually put out quite a lot of you can actually contend caps now, especially with the, where did it go? I just had it. Did I close it? I might have closed it out. But either way, I'm pretty much done with that. So now with this you know, this nice reload, you can actually use that hydroacoustic search to contest caps, and things like a Fletcher still are at 3.3 second reload, so it's not too big of a difference. But again, you can actually use your hydro to your advantage now. So finally, the tier 10, the daring. The daring is much better than the tier 9, but we'll see how its statistics pan out. 20,800 hit points. Again, still sticking with 114mm guns, and from what I've seen so far, it could be kind of problematic with the rear turret angles. We'll have to wait and see. Range is good. Fire chance is not bad, but this is quite significant now. You get a full second slapped off that reload, so now we're down to 2.5 seconds, which is awesome. Torpedoes are looking pretty good. Damage 16, nearly 17,000. 10-kilometer range is a little short. I would have hoped for around 12 or 13 kilometers, but with a 2x5 setup, you can't argue with that too much. 1.3 kilometer detectability, 62 knots. Again, a little bit on the slower side. Would have liked a little bit faster torpedoes with that shorter range. But we'll have to see how it actually turns out. And again, these statistics are subject to change. AA, you get 2x2 40 mils at 3.5 kilometers. Average DPS quite high, 63. And then the dual purpose guns go out to 5 kilometers and they're 53. So I don't think this is going to be a good manual AA setup if you were to go for one. I think basically just if you're going to do AFT, then that could be something you could work with. But for the most part, AA is not incredible. The 63 DPS on 3.5 is, I do like seeing that. So it kind of shows the prominence of the British AA of those 40 mils. Speed has increased, but it's still only 35 knots. Turning circles, turning radius is decreased. Rudder shift, it's gotten even worse. 4.6 seconds. That seems so sluggish, and it's just progressively gotten worse and worse. 7 kilometer detectability, so that's stayed through from tier 8 to tier 10. That's 7 kilometer detectability, which is nice. Duration on the smoke is now up to 113 seconds, and then the torpedo detection on the hydroacoustic is 2.6, and ship detection is nearly 4 kilometers at 3.9. So that's quite nice. Now let's bring in the Yu Yang, and you know what? I will also bring in the, let's see, I'm going to bring this up in another tab. Oh, there's the, okay. I'm going to do some German destroyer comparison as well, just for the hydro sake. I didn't do it for the tier 8 and 9, but I will do it for the tier 10, because I'm actually kind of curious how that the tier 10 will actually fare. So I have to bring this whole thing over, don't I? Yep, I do. So let's bring that over. So let's see. So 5.9 kilometers for the ship detectability for the hydro, and then torpedoes 4 kilometers. That doesn't seem right, but let's see here. 3.9 and 261. So, just doesn't feel the same. So Germans are still gonna outdo you, but you're still gonna be able to counter things like a gearing and almost make them feel kind of helpless, honestly. So Yu Yang, 18,500 hit points. Let's see here. I do apologize if this is like really small. I'm trying my best, but again, you can kind of look at other statistics or the statistics on the website with the links below. But significant increase over the Yu Yang in terms of its HP. Same with the gearing. Not as much though. 19,400 on the gearing, and then you know, 20,000. So you do get a slight HP advantage. Range is actually quite good. It looks like 13.8 kilometers. It's quite good for base, for the most upgraded ship you can have, but without any, you know, modules or whatever. But surface detectability is almost 7.6 for the gearing. So the Yu Yang is a little bit better, 7.42, but you're going to be outspotting gearings and Yu Yangs and even Shimikazes, it looks like. So that's going to be actually quite interesting, you know, having to counter a British destroyer. So you have to get in really close. If you're a gearing, you have to get in really close, and it feels like it's going to kind of limit the gearing for the most part on what it can do. Reload time on the gearing is 3 seconds, and still we're looking at what is it, 2.5 second reload. Like this is it's just purely better. Main better. Same thing with the Yu Yang. It's 3 seconds. It's just purely better. It's a bit worrying, but so lifetime on the Yu Yang smoke is 70 seconds. For the gearing, it's 130 seconds, which is good. Let's see what it is for the British Tier 10 destroyer, the Daring. It's 113 seconds, so not too far off, about 15-ish seconds difference. Torpedoes, now this is where the gearing should take over. 136 seconds on reload, which is nice. Let's see. Good detectability, although let's see, it's actually better, I think. Where's torpedo? Torpedo 1.3. Okay, so yeah, it is 0.1 kilometers better. The difference is the speed. So 66 knots versus 62 knots. They might actually end up being the same damage, same detectability wise and reaction time wise. Distance though is 16.5 kilometers. It's much better versus only 10 kilometers. So you're gonna have to really struggle with radar with the Daring. So that is something you have to be a little bit cautious about with the Tier 10 British destroyer. Yu Yang. Let's check out its torpedoes really quick. So 136 second reload. Obviously the detectability is going to be a lot better, and they're also deep water. So, but even this is 13.5 kilometers at 68 knots, and just, I mean, this ship doesn't seem too heavily focused on its torpedoes. It kind of like an added benefit, almost like I guess a Grozovoy in terms of torpedoes, and I guess playstyle. It's more of a destroyer hunter. This kind of lackluster. Let's actually check out the rudder shift time. 4 seconds on the Yu Yang for the gearing. 4.2. So that's going to be, where is it? There it is. So 4.6. So you are going to be a little bit less wiggly and maneuverable versus other destroyers like the Yu Yang and gearing, but you're going to be more on the level of like the Z52 or like the Grozovoy. So a bit interesting there. Again, the detectability is going to be very, very crucial. You're going to be able to get the first shot off, and with that higher let's see, there are only 114 millimeters, so they're not going to do nearly as much like alpha damage, but still, it's going to be quite devastating. That's 1800 there, alpha damage, and then let's see here. AP is 21 and 17, so again, slightly less alpha, but man, the other thing too is we don't know how fat the Daring will be, but at least against the Gearing and even a Yu Yang, your AP can be quite deadly. Now, so that pretty much does it here. I don't really have anything else to talk about. I've tried to keep this try to keep it around 30 minutes, but I know I've gone over. I probably at like 45 minutes to almost an hour now, so I hope I'll try to put some timestamps as well in here for you guys. But I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and if you did like this video, I know it's a little bit different, more statistical, and I'm not the best statistician out there, but I hope you guys thought this video was informative. And again, if you don't want to watch this whole video, that's fine, but I hope I gave some of my nice thoughts here. And anyways, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.